Oh, it's you. Hello, my fellow Whovians and subscribers, and welcome to my Doctor Who RANT on time shite. Sorry, time flight. You know what? I don't care. Let's call it time shite. That'll give you an indication of what this rant is going to be like. This story is the 122nd Doctor Who story, and it is the final story of season 19 of Doctor Who, which is Davison's first series as the 5th Doctor. The plot of this story is as follows. I mean, to use the word plot is really an overestimation of what this really is, but for what it's worth, let's do it. While investigating a vanishing Concorde at Heathrow Airport, the Doctor and his companions are thrown millions of years back in time. Wow! Where a mysterious alien called Khalid is trying to control the ancient powers of the Zerafin. Cheers. Time shite. Fuck this shit. Time shite is a dreadful Doctor Who story. I hate this story. What a shit way to cap off Peter Davison's first season as the 5th Doctor. What an absolute fucking disgrace. Why wasn't Earthshock the end of the season? Why? It makes absolutely no sense. And that's my problem with the entire story, is that none of it makes any fucking sense. What is the Master doing in this story? He doesn't even need to be here. He's dressing up as this stupid Asian character called Khalid and going doing all that stupid incantations. And the makeup isn't even convincing. My God, it looks like the clay was added onto the mask literally 5 minutes before they went to film. It looks that fucking shit. And Anthony Ainley, my God, I'm sorry. This guy's performance is fucking terrible in this story. What the hell? Like, and also, the end of the story, the Master just leaves. Like, they don't even have much of a climax to this story. The Master just fucking gets in his TARDIS and he fucking leaves. I'm sorry for the language, but this story is awful. It's terrible. Not to mention, it's a fucking drag to sit through. And this is just... I'm sorry. This story makes me angry. It really does. Peter Davison is trying. I really give him credit. He is really trying to make this work, but he can't save this story. The story surrounding him. Literally, that's my review of this story. Me bashing my head against this wall. Also, in the very beginning of this story, they just brush off Adric's death so quickly. I mean, I am not the biggest fan of Adric, and I make no apologies for that, but at the same time, you chose to write the character out by killing him off in the previous story. Have a bit of respect. Have a bit of fucking respect, J&T, for this character. You disrespected K9 in the previous season, you disrespected Tom Baker in the previous season, and now you're disrespecting Adric, a character which you actually introduced in the previous season. And basically, at the beginning of this story, the Doctor, Tegan and Nyssa are sort of mourning over Adric, and then after a minute or so, he's just like, oh, he wouldn't want us to mourn over him. Let's carry on, shall we? What? What? I don't understand why they do that. That is so cold. That is so out of character. I mean, the Doctor has to deal with loss all the time. He is constantly mourning for his friends and whoever he loses, and Adric died, for God's sake. It's not like he just left and walked out of the TARDIS. That's different. If he just chose to leave, that would have been different. But the fact that he was killed off, you know, you think that they would have a bit more respect than that. I mean, Tegan is the one who is mourning him the most, but even so, it's just ridiculous. And then they have Adric reappear as like a vision or a ghost later on, when he's telling Tegan and Nyssa not to go forward, and then they walk past him, and then he screams and goes, ah! It's so bad. The acting in this story is so fucking bad. Apart from Peter Davison, I mean, and Sarah Sutton and Janet Fielding, they try their best, they really do, but The acting is awful in this story. The supporting cast are fucking shit. They don't know what they're doing in this story. They're just like these pilots. And for some reason, which I can't fathom, they can actually pilot the TARDIS without any training. What? I mean, I know they're qualified pilots, but the TARDIS is different to an aeroplane, so I don't understand what the whole point is of that. And also, this story comes across as just like a leisure and tourism advert, much like the Leisure Hive, except this time it's like an advert for British Airways. The first part of the story takes place in Heathrow Airport, and then we see planes at various points in the story. But when the story transitions into the Jurassic era, for some reason, the characters are able to travel like that without using the TARDIS to the Jurassic era. Okay, fine. But we're back in underworld green screen land. Well done. Well done. I mean, clearly this was the last minute story that you run out of money. You ran out of money when you were making this story, and it fucking shows. None of the sets look great. The sets are terrible. They look cheap as fuck. I would have just not even bothered with this story. The script is so fucking convoluted. It makes absolutely no sense. It is dreadful. And it is ridiculous seeing the Master disguise himself as this Khalid guy. You know, he looks like the character from Pirates of the Caribbean, the Soa Feng, the Chinese pirate in the third film. It reminds me of that, basically. I know that film came out years after, but even so. Oh my god, I just hated this story. It drags. It just drags for all 4 parts. It just completely drags. And also, Tegan is left behind at the end. Again, what? Why would the Doctor leave Tegan behind? I mean, apparently J&T wanted some kind of massive cliffhanger for the end of the season, but that's out of character. You wouldn't leave Tegan behind unless there was a reason. Like, if she was leaving, then that's different, but she's not leaving. And also, Tegan and Nyssa get fuck all to do in this story. They don't do fucking anything in this story. They go through this cave and something, and then that's it. Nyssa is like possessed by Khalid or whatever, and there are these massive grey monsters that look like shit. That's basically they do. They look like absolute shit, or they look like massive turds. They look like those fungus creatures from Primeval. That's what they look like to me, and they are awful. They are so bad. They look absolutely terrible. They're not convincing. I hate them with a passion. Again, the 3 pilots couldn't care about them at all. Professor Hayter as well. Like, he goes to be possessed by the Khalid knowing that he will gain infinite knowledge, but knowing that he's going to die. So really, he's not as clever as he looks, as far as I'm concerned. You know, reading the plot synopsis to you earlier was the first time I really understood the general basis of the plot, because I watched the entire story and I couldn't make heads or tails of this plot. I could not understand a single thing that was going on. It was so messy. This is a gigantic mess. And why is the Master in this story? The story doesn't end properly. It takes forever to fucking end. Like, once the climax has happened and we see the passengers come back to the Doctor and when the Master just leaves, after that there's this long drawn out ending where they get back to the airport and it's like, just fucking end now. I'm just sick of this story. I couldn't care less. It's directed by Ron Jones. Or is it? There is no direction. I never want to see this story again. It is directed so badly by Ron Jones. I think that's his name, Ron Jones. And then Peter Grimwade, who wrote the script. I mean, well, he's not much of a writer as far as I'm concerned. It is just so cringeworthy. It is embarrassing to watch. It is embarrassing. So, with that said, I'm going to rate Time Shite. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. Simply because the actors, the main principal TARDIS crew, they are actually trying their best, but the rest of the story can go and fuck itself as far as I'm concerned. So, now we come on to the final part of this video, which is the mini ranking of season 19, as this is the end of Peter Davison's first season. So, let's begin, shall we? Number 7 is Time Shite, obviously. 6, 4 to Doomsday. 5, Castrovalva. Number 4, Black Orchid. Number 3, Kinder. Number 2, The Visitation. And number 1, Earthshock. So thanks very much, everybody, for watching this rant, and stay tuned next time when I review Arc of Infinity, which is the next story. And please leave your rankings down below in the comment section, as well as your comments. What do you think of this story? I have a pretty good idea of what you do think of it, but please comment down below, let me know. I'd like to share opinions and discuss. And thank you very much all for watching. And until next time, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. See you soon. Bye for now.